Well, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome, and thanks for joining us. My name is Robert. Let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join us. Just to make sure everyone's in the right spot, this is the Picasso in Barcelona and Picasso Museum live stream tour. And if you are watching us live on Zoom or Facebook, we always welcome people to introduce themselves. So in the Zoom chat or the Q&A or the comment section on Facebook, you can let us know your first name, where you're connecting from. And today's icebreaker question is, have you been to Spain yet? So we know everyone's going to go sooner or later, even if they haven't been there yet. And we always do this just because it's fascinating to find out where people are joining us from and to learn more about them. And you can, again, type your response in the Zoom chat or the Q&A or the comment section on Facebook if you are watching us live. If you are watching us live on Zoom, the sound will be muted for everyone except for Jordi, my co-host, and myself. So if you start cheering during our program, unfortunately, no one's going to be able to hear you outside your household. If you do want to raise or lower the volume on your session, you can check the settings locally on your own device. If you want to adjust the screen display so that the slides that Jordi and I will be showing take up the full screen, you can adjust that at your end by clicking on either view or view options, and then you can check off the side-by-side mode. Throughout our program, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, opinions, ideas, perspectives, memories, etc., feel free to share those in the Zoom chat or the Q&A or the comment section on Facebook. And again, it's just really interesting just to hear what other people think about the topics we discuss. The chat and Q&A items, though, on Zoom won't be visible unless they're approved by one of the hosts. We do that to prevent people that have nothing better to do with their time than try and Zoom bomb our programs, which we had 3 people try yesterday, but of course, none of them were successful because we have security measures in place. And for those of you not familiar with us, we're Washington, D.C. History and Culture. We're a nonprofit community organization. We give people the opportunity to experience the history and culture, not only of Washington, D.C., but of the world. And a shout out to all of our sister groups that are joining us from Baltimore, Maryland, Texas, New York City, London. Welcome. Thanks for being here. And thanks no matter what part of the world you're joining us from. My name is Robert Kellerman. Not really going to be your host, more the MC today. I'm the founder and director of the Washington, D.C. History and Culture Organization. And the main star attraction today is our friend Jordi Gomez, who's a Barcelona-based tour guide. And he's done a number of programs for us, and he always gets rave reviews from the audience. So we asked him to come back additional time and talk with us again. So previously, Jordi has done live stream tours of Barcelona itself, mostly the historic center city area. And then he also did a talk on Catalonia, which is where Barcelona resides at. And then he also did a Christmas tour for us. Now, if you missed those programs, don't worry, because you can find them on our YouTube channel, which is Washington, D.C. History and Culture. So we're actually recording this program as well. So if you have to jump off at some point in time, or you know anyone else that would be interested, or if you're going to be going to Spain and want to brush up on the information that Jordi goes over, it'll be on our YouTube page, probably not till tomorrow though. But what I'll do, I'll email out the links to the Barcelona, Catalonia, and Christmas programs that Jordi did for us previously. And you can check those out at your leisure. And again, that will be on our YouTube channel, Washington, D.C. History and Culture Week. I think we're up to like 120 videos on our YouTube channel, everything from Abraham Lincoln to Vincent van Gogh to Martin Luther King and Jackie Kennedy. So check that out when you get a chance. And I also wanted to start learning more about Spain because I think a lot of us have been cooped up with COVID, and we're going to go out and travel once this gets under control, which hopefully it will sooner or later. And I've been to Spain before. I really love it. The people are friendly. It's got great history and architecture and culture and food and et cetera, et cetera. So I was thinking maybe we could organize some kind of group trip and all of us go to Spain, and then we can hook up with Jordi and have him show us around Barcelona and Catalonia. But we just have to get through the COVID situation first. So I don't have any details on that because everything's kind of up in the air for now. But that being said, so Jordi actually came up with this idea for this program on his own because Picasso has a lot of strong ties to Barcelona, either spending time there or well-known paintings that he's done relate to the city itself. So the first half of his program, he's going to talk about Picasso in Barcelona. And then the second half of the program, he's going to give us kind of a mini tour of the Picasso Museum in Barcelona. And so with that, I will turn things over to Jordi. And again, the topic for today is Picasso in Barcelona and the Picasso Museum. So with that, let me turn things over to our friend Jordi Gomez. And Jordi, take it away. It's all yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Robert, for your presentation.
No problem. And oh, sorry, I forgot to mention, if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to type those in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll send as many of those to Jordi as we can once he's done. Although we have a big group today joining us, so we're not sure we'll be able to get to every single question, but we'll do the best we can. And Jordi, it's all yours. Thank you. Buenos días.
Yes, buenos días. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Here in Barcelona now, it's 6 p.m. And buenas tardes. O in Catalan, bona tarda. Okay, here we speak both. We are bilingual here in Catalonia. We speak both languages, Barcelona, Catalan and Spanish. Okay, thank you very much, Robert. Thank you very much, everyone, for your interest to know, to discover something else about Barcelona and Catalonia. And of course, now we'll talk about Picasso. Picasso and his time in Barcelona. I'm, as Robert told you, I'm Jordi. My name is Jordi. I'm a tour guide in Barcelona. I was born in Barcelona, and I love the city. I love Barcelona. I love Catalonia, the culture, my history, and I want to show you a piece of my history talking about Picasso. This tour is about Picasso and his time in Barcelona, not about all the Picasso's life. Okay, Picasso lived, when Picasso died, he was 91 years old. He died in 1973. Picasso painted thousands of paintings. He made ceramics in his life. And then, okay, we don't have time to talk about Picasso and all his life, all his works. Of course, okay, we need at least 3 days to talk about Picasso and his work and his long life, and a very, very good artist in the world during the 20th century. Now I want to tell you, I want to show you when Picasso lived in Barcelona. Okay, we'll follow his steps. Okay, slowly. When he lived in Barcelona, he lived in Barcelona for 10 years. Okay, when he was 13 years old, or between his age, 13 and 24 years old. Okay, and now we'll talk about them, about the 10 years, slowly, step by step. We'll follow Picasso in Barcelona. Okay, here we can see his one of the signature of Picasso, and we'll talk about the signature. We'll talk about the name Picasso, because Picasso was his second surname. We'll talk, okay, about it during this tour about Picasso in Barcelona. Okay, thank you very much. I hope that you will enjoy today with Picasso in Barcelona. Okay, let's see. Picasso. Here there's a self portrait. Picasso painted himself when he was 14 years old. 14 years old, and then here we can see that Picasso was a very great, important, very good painter when he only was a teenager, when he was 13 or 14 years old. Okay, Picasso was born in Malaga. He was born in Spain. Malaga is in the south of Spain in 1881, okay, at the end of the 19th century, right? But Pablo, Picasso, okay, his name was Pablo. His first surname was Ruiz. His second surname was Picasso. Here, do you know, here in Spain, we have 2 surnames, our fathers and our mothers, okay? And Pablo was the name, Ruiz, his father's surname, Picasso, his mother's surname, okay? The second one, not the first one, not the main one, the second one, okay? We'll talk about his signature, or why Picasso changed the signature to just Picasso, his second surname, his mother's surname. But when Picasso was baptized, when he was born, when he was a baby, when he was baptized in Malaga in 1881, his full name was longer. The name by Picasso was Pablo, Diego, José Francisco, de Paula, Juan, Nepomuceno, María de los Remedios, Cipriano, de la Santísima Trinidad, Ruiz, and Picasso. This is the full name of Picasso. Okay, when he was baptized, okay, the priest told all the names. Okay, he had a very, very long name, but Picasso is his short name is his name, the father's surname, and the mother's surname, Pablo Ruiz Picasso. He was born in Malaga. Where is it? Okay, and now let's see where Malaga is. Okay, now we'll see a map of Europe. Okay, because now we are in Europe, and let's travel to the south of Europe, where there's Spain. Okay, I'm from Barcelona on the northeast. Here there's Spain. In the center there's Madrid, the capital city of Spain. Malaga is in the south. Okay, let's travel to Malaga. Malaga is in the south of Spain, in Andalusia, right? Andalusian. Okay, it's a very good region in the south of Spain. Malaga is a city next to the Mediterranean Sea. If you have visited, I don't know, Malaga before, okay, you know that it's a great city. The days always are sunny days. The weather is very, very good. It's very hot, very good days to walk, to enjoy the sea. The light is very, very important because it's a very great city in the south of Spain, okay? Picasso was born in Malaga because his parents were from Malaga, okay? His family was from Malaga. But when Picasso was a child, when he was a kid, his family moved. He left Malaga and he moved to the northwest of Spain, to La Coruña. I don't know, maybe you know that Picasso, his father, Don José Ruiz Blázquez, his father was a painter too. His father was a very traditional painter. His father was an art teacher too, okay? And then his father found a new job in an art school in a different place of Spain on the northwest, in La Coruña, okay? And then the family moved to La Coruña when Picasso was a child, was a kid, see? And now let's leave Malaga to the south and let's see Malaga on the west, northwest of Spain. Here, La Coruña is a good city too, of course, okay? But the weather here is the opposite, the weather in the south, okay? Here always is rains a lot, the days are cloudy, no, it's cold, okay? It's the opposite of the south, okay? And then the family, the Picasso's family, were from Malaga. They missed the good days, the hot days, the weather, the Mediterranean Sea, the light, the sunlight, okay, they missed them and they moved again. They moved again in 1895, at the end of the 19th century, when Picasso was 13 years old. They left La Coruña and they moved to Barcelona because his father found a new job in the art school in Barcelona, okay? And now let's leave La Coruña and let's travel to Barcelona, to the northeast of Spain, the capital city of Catalonia, okay? Let me to show you closer, okay? Barcelona, this is my city, Barcelona, and we can see the city here, see? Barcelona, the streets, the buildings, so on. But if we look at this place, can you see this next to the port, next to the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, okay, the same one where Malaga is, where Picasso was born, okay? And then the light is similar, the sunlight is different, it's similar as Picasso enjoyed in Malaga when he was a child, see? Can you see here, this part of Barcelona, there are narrow and old streets. This one is the old town. Barcelona was founded by the Romans in the 1st century before Christ, and around the Roman city during the Middle Ages, they built new buildings, new palaces, new streets, and new medieval walls, okay, were built around the current old town of Barcelona. Here we can see you see this part, there are narrow, old streets, because this one is the old town. Okay, the city built during centuries from the Roman times to the 18th century. When his family, okay, they moved to Barcelona, Picasso family moved to Barcelona, they lived always in different flats, but they always lived in the old town. Picasso had different workshops, always in the old town. Picasso met the Impressionists, Impressionists no, they met in France. Picasso met in Barcelona the modernist painters, Ramon Casas, Pere Romeu, Santiago Lusignol, so on, in a coffee shop, in a very important bar in the old town. Picasso painted a very, very good, famous painting in Paris in 1907 called Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, the Avignon's ladies. Okay, and he wanted to represent a street in Barcelona called Avignon. The street is in the old town. The current Picasso's Museum in Barcelona, okay, it was founded during the 1960s, is still in the old town. And then if we need to follow the Picasso's steps in Barcelona, we need to walk through the old town, always through the old town. And okay, today we'll imagine, okay, we are going to imagine that we are walking, we are enjoying, looking at the buildings, and walking through the old town of Barcelona, where there are Gothic churches, Roman walls, and old and narrow streets, okay? And here there's the first building where Picasso lived when he was 13 years old. This building is called Els Porxos d'en Xifré, it's a Catalan name, okay? Forget it, see? And this building was built at the end of the 19th century, is at the end of the old town, next to the port, next to the Mediterranean Sea, next to a neighborhood in Barcelona, very important one, called Barceloneta, okay, where the fishermen used to live during the 18th and 19th century. Here in this building, Picasso lived with his family. Here in the building, there was the first flat where Picasso lived in 1895, when Picasso was 13 years old. In this building, if you visit Barcelona, if you want to follow Picasso's steps, if you visit this building, or if you look at the building from the outside, okay, don't forget that here in this building, there's still a very important and traditional and old restaurant. Okay, I know that you love the Catalan food, you love our culture, our food, and here there's a very old restaurant called Set Portas. Set Portas, okay, Set Portas means 7 doors. Okay, this one, here there's a view, okay, from the outside of the restaurant. This is the same building where Picasso lived here when he was 13 years old. The restaurant is called Set Portas in Catalan, Siete Puertas, Spanish. That means in English 7 doors, because the restaurant has seven doors, okay, around the bar. The restaurant. Here it was founded in Barcelona, right here in the same place, in the same building, in 1836. 1836. Okay, this restaurant has 1 century and 86 years of history. It's a very, very important one in Barcelona called Set Portas, 7 doors. In the restaurant, if you want to eat here a very traditional Catalan food, for example, here there's a traditional paella. Okay, the paella is the tradition or the origin of the paella, rice and seafood, so on, is from Valencia. Valencia is close to Catalonia, but in Barcelona, there's an original paella only from Barcelona called paella parellada. Paella parellada is the name of this singular paella. Okay, this is a picture. This is a picture of the inside of the restaurant. Here we can see a very traditional one, an important historical restaurant in Barcelona, founded in 1836. And here I went to show you a picture of the paella. Okay, I know. Okay, you are close to the lunchtime. Okay, forget please the end of the tour. Okay, to walk quickly to the kitchen. This is a paella called paella parellada. Parellada. He was a man in Barcelona during the 19th century. Mr. Parellada wanted to eat a different paella, easy, okay, so easier, so on, okay. And he told a chef in a restaurant in Barcelona in the 19th century, okay, please, I would like to eat a paella with only rice and meat, for example, okay, I don't know, chicken and seafood, but please, without bones and without shells. And here, this is a paella parellada, okay, only rice and meat and seafood, but without shells and without bones. This is a traditional original paella from Barcelona since the 19th century. Okay, you can eat it in a restaurant called Set Portas, 7 Doors, in the building where Picasso lived when he was 13 years old. Okay,
Jordi, I know you're a talented cook. Is that your kitchen?
Yeah. I used to cook.
Is this picture taken in your kitchen? Oh, okay, because I know you're a talented cook, and before you showed us pictures of dishes that you and your mom made. I thought maybe this was a Jordi Gomez special. Okay. For those of you that don't know, Jordi's also a talented cook, as is his family. So he's previously showed pictures of his creations.
I know. At the other tour about Barcelona, right? Okay, I showed you a picture of my paella. Okay, my paella, okay, from my kitchen. Okay, this one is a paella from the restaurant 7 Doors. Okay.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
is more professional paella. Okay, not than my paella. Okay, my paella is more so usual. Okay, this one is in front. Okay, in front the building where there's the restaurant Set Porta, 7 Doors. Where Picasso lived when he was 13 years old. There's this building. This building is a very historical one. It's called La Yocha. It was built in the 14th century. This building was built in the 14th century. It's a Gothic building, but the Gothic building is inside because around it, they built, can you see, a new classical facade during the 19th century. From the outside, from the street, we can see the new classical facade, 19th century, but behind it, inside, there's a Gothic building built in the during the 14th century. Here, if you look at the top, okay, 1, 2, 3, the third floor on the top of the building, here there was the art school in Barcelona. At the end of the 19th century, in this building, in front, the flat where Picasso lived with his family, this building, there was the art school. Here, Picasso was an art student, and his father, right here, was his teacher. Don José Ruiz was Picasso's teacher and father, and sometimes his model, so on. Picasso's father, okay, he was a very, very strong influence for a young Picasso, for Picasso when he was a child, a teenager, okay, because his father, during all his life, his father always taught him the traditional, the old rules for the painters, so on. And then Picasso knew the rules. Picasso had a control of the old and traditional rules because his father taught him all of them during his life. And then when Picasso was 13, 14 years old, Picasso knew them, and Picasso was a great painter when he was only 13, 14 years old, because his father was a very good art teacher. In this building, where the art school was here, when Picasso was here, an art student, when his father was his teacher, Picasso painted the academic works, okay? So there were some models in the school, and Picasso painted them in the school as an art student. They are exhibited in the Picasso's Museum in Barcelona. Here we can see some of them, okay? Some of the paintings, they are called academic works. Picasso painted them in the art school, okay? In the building that we have seen in the last picture before, okay? Here we can see models as Picasso painted, and the rest of the students, right? Okay, they were painting them. They had to stay over there on the class, on the room, so on, and the other students painted them. Here we can see them when Picasso painted them when he was 14 okay? Between 13 and 14 years old, Picasso painted them, okay? And Picasso, as he had a very good control of the academic rules, the old rules, when he was just a teenager, only a teenager, when Picasso was 20 years old, Picasso needed something new. Picasso needed new rules, new styles, something different, because he knew the old rules when he only was a teenager. Picasso, there was a time in Barcelona when Picasso was 19 years old, at the beginning of the 20th century, okay, 1900, 1901, Picasso found in Barcelona a new school. It wasn't a school because it was a bar, a coffee shop, okay, a coffee shop called Quatra Gats. Okay, now we'll talk about it. Okay, this bar was founded by the modernist painters in Barcelona in 1897, at the end of the 19th century. Here, this picture, we can see a modernist building designed by Josep Puig i Cadafalch, a very important modernist architect in Barcelona at the end, in the turn of the 20th century. This building is called Casa Martí. On the first floor, there's the bar called Quatra Gats, 4 cats, where Picasso met in this bar when Picasso was 20 years old, the modernist and the important Catalan painters as Ramon Casas, Pere Romeu, Santiago Rusiñol, Utrillo, so on, okay, Catalan and Spanish painters that they were in Barcelona that time. Now, let me to show you something about the beginning for this bar, for this coffee shop, okay, called Quatra Gats, okay? Quatra Gats, this one, this is the name, okay? Quatra Gats. Quatra Gats, it's in Catalan. In English, Gats means cats. Okay, here, can you see them? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, the 4 cats here on the top, okay, of the sign, okay, on the top, there are 4 cats. Here on the bottom, if you look at the bottom of the picture, can you see here there's a painting? The painting was painted by Ramon Casas. Ramon Casas was a very important modernist painter. Here we can see, can you see two men? The first one is Ramon Casas, the painter. Okay, this one is a small reproduction because this painting was a bigger one, was a big one, and it was inside the bar as a way to decorate the walls for the bar. Okay, and this one is a small reproduction for this great important painting by Ramon Casas. Here, the first one is Ramon Casas. The second one, can you see here at the back? There's Pere Romeu. Pere Romeu, he saw the cabarets, the old bars in Paris at the end of the 19th century. For example, he saw the black chat or the black cat, okay, the chat noir, sorry, the chat noir, okay, or the black cat. See, the black cat was a very traditional cafe or coffee shop in Paris, where the Impressionist painters used to meet over there at the end of the 19th century. The bar was like a cabaret, an art gallery, the hangout for the painters, for the artists, so on, okay? And Pere Romeu wanted to open in Barcelona a similar bar as he saw in Paris at the end of the 19th century. But Ramon Casas, here the first one, he asked Pere Romeu, why do you want to open a bar here if only few people will come here? So few people in English, okay, means few people. But in Catalan, there's a popular expression is Quatra Gats. Quatra Gats, 4 cats, okay, means few people. And then he asked Pere Romeu, if only Quatra Gats will come here. And Pere Romeu thought, Quatra Gats, 4 cats? Oh, I love it. And the name for the bar was Quatra Gats. Quatra Gats was the bar, the hangout for the Catalan and the modernist painters that they met in the bar, and they used to talk. They painted portraits of them, okay, in the bar. They put the portraits of them with drawing pins on the walls. They painted paintings as a way to decorate the walls for the bar, so on. And it was very, very famous in Barcelona in the turn of the 20th century. And Picasso, a young Picasso, met them in the bar. When Picasso was 19, 20 years old, Picasso met the modernist painters. They were older as Picasso was, because he was 20 years old. Maybe they were 40, 45 years old. And Picasso, with them, discovered Paris. With them, Picasso traveled to Paris, and over there he met the Impressionist painters. He saw a new style, the Impressionism, revolution of the art in Paris, in France, during the 19th century. This one, okay, this new style helped Picasso to get a new style, to find something new, different, as he wanted to find, as he wanted to meet in Europe, okay, when he was 19 or 20 years old, okay? And we'll talk during our tour about Picasso and his times his time between Barcelona and Paris, okay? Because Picasso visited or traveled 3 times to Paris, and he came back to Barcelona, okay? We'll talk, okay, the time, okay, his time between both cities, Barcelona and Paris, at the beginning of the 20th century, okay? And this one, the bar Quatra Gats. If you visit Barcelona, okay, don't forget to visit Quatra Gats, the bar, because the bar is still in Barcelona. It was closed, okay? It was closed at the beginning of the 20th century. Peralomeu closed the bar down at the beginning of the 20th century, but it was open again 40 years ago with the same decoration as a way to help the people to feel the bohemian, the modernist style, the modernist life in Barcelona at the beginning of the 20th century. You visit it, okay, you can see the bar, but okay, don't forget that it's a new one, okay, a new bar, okay, that it was opened again 40 years ago. See, but here there's inside the bar, okay, the reproductions of the drawings, the self-portraits, or portraits, okay, by the modernist painters, by the young artists, the sculptors, the painters, so on. Here, this one, we can see this portrait of Picasso. His Picasso, when he met them, when he met the modernist painters in the cafe bar, it was as a cafe, a bar, art gallery, cabaret, so on, okay, because they wanted to show a different life, so on. And here there's a Picasso that time, okay, when he met them in the cafe bar at Quatra Gats, when Picasso was 19, 20 years old, okay. This portrait, it is it was painted by Ramon Casas, very important Catalan painter, okay, who painted the other one, okay, you remember 2 men with a bike, okay, and the first one was Ramon Casas, the same one who painted Picasso, and that time when Picasso was 20 years old, okay. Picasso found a strong influence here in this bar. This is the entrance for the bar, the coffee shop of Quatra Gats. And this one is, okay, don't forget that the bar is in a modernist building, like a palace, but it was built at the end of the 19th century. Here always, can you see the entrance? There's this, can you see this painting here on the left side? This painting always is the entrance of the bar as a way to show us Picasso and his time in the bar, because Picasso designed, the one it was designed, drew, okay, by Picasso, when Picasso met the people here, the modernist painters in the bar 1 century ago, and so 1 century ago and years, okay, at the beginning of the 20th century. And here it was the cover of the menu for the bar as Quatra Gats. Okay, it was drew by Picasso, by a young Picasso when he was 19, 20 years old. Okay, here we can see the kind of the people that used to meet over there in the bar. Okay, the bourgeoisie, rich people, or at the back we can see workers, because everyone. Okay, the bar was opened for everyone, all the people. Okay, workers, no different social classes. Okay, workers, bourgeoisie, rich people, poor people, everyone. Okay, was welcome to eat something or to take a coffee in the bar as Quatra Gats. Okay, this is the inside now. Okay, the inside today of the bar. Okay, if you visit Barcelona, if you take a coffee in this bar, you will feel as Pablo Picasso, as Federico Garcia Lorca, as Salvador Dalí. Okay, great writer, painters, that they felt, okay, the same feeling that they felt in the bar at the beginning of the 20th century. This one, okay, don't forget, al bar as Quatra Gats, the four cats, in the old town, okay, of Barcelona. It's close next to Plaza Catalunya, Catalonia Square, the center of Barcelona, okay? And now let's leave the four cats, or inside the four cats, there are, as I told you, some reproduction of portraits on. Here we can see Picasso, a self-portrait. Picasso painted himself. Then we can see a self-portrait by Picasso that time, okay, in the turn of the 20th century, okay? And Sala Parés, the first exhibition of Picasso in Barcelona was in the bar that we have seen now, okay, the bar as Quatra Gats, the four cats, okay, because Picasso drew some portraits of the modernist painters that he met in the bar, and they put his portraits on with a drawing pin on the wall, and it was his first exhibition, okay, in Barcelona inside the bar as Quatra Gats, the four cats, but his first official or important exhibition was in Barcelona in the 1900s, okay, at the beginning of the 20th century, in this art gallery called Sala Parés, founded in Barcelona in 1877. It's still in Barcelona. Okay, you visit Barcelona, you can still see the art gallery where there was the first exhibition by Picasso in 1901, 1901, okay? And Sala Parés is still in the same place, okay? From the first day in 1877 in a narrow and old street called Petrichol. Petrichol is an old street in the old town, okay? This one, Sala Parés, is in that street in the old town. Okay, it's close, more or less, it's close to the Ramblas. Okay, maybe you know the Ramblas. The Ramblas is the most popular street of Barcelona from Catalonia Square to the end, to the Columbus Monument next to the port, the Ramblas. Okay, Sala Parés, an art gallery, very important, okay, for Picasso, because here there was his first official or important exhibition in Barcelona in his life. And this street, Carrer Petrichol, okay, if you visit Barcelona, if you would like to eat the most traditional chocolate con churros, hot chocolate with churros, okay, don't miss the same street where there's the art gallery, Sala Parés, because over there are still, since the 1940s, okay, since 80 years ago, okay, there are still over there the two most traditional, here we say Granger. Granger could be, okay, a bar or a coffee shop, okay, where you can eat in the same street where there's the art gallery, the most traditional hot chocolate in Barcelona. Okay, I will show you them, okay, the both Grangers or the both coffee shops in the same street where there's the art gallery, okay? Don't forget them. because it's the hot chocolate over there. It's delicious. It's very, very good. Okay, and here is one, La Granja La Pallaresa, founded in Barcelona in 1947, and the other one is La Dulcinea, okay, founded in Barcelona in 1941. Okay, they were founded the same or close, okay, during the 1940s. Okay, 80 years ago. Okay, then don't forget them to eat the most traditional hot chocolate in Barcelona. In Barcelona, when still now, okay, when we want to eat traditional hot chocolate, we always come back to the same street, Carrer Petrichol, where there's the art gallery, where there was the most official or the most important, the first important exhibition by Picasso at the beginning of the 20th century. At the end of this street, there's a Gothic church. There's a, can you see here? We can see a piece, okay, a piece of the church. And now I will show you the church. Here, this is the front. Is the front for the church, the main facade. The church is a Gothic church. It's close to the art gallery. It's close to the coffee shop where you will eat in the future. I hope it. I know it. Okay, where you will eat the most traditional hot chocolate in Barcelona in the Carrer Petrichol. Here, there's this Gothic church called, is devoted Santa Maria del Pi. Santa Maria del Pi means Saint Mary of the Pine. Do you know the pine tree? If we look at the left side of the picture, can you see on the left side? There's the pine. The pine tree is still here, okay, since years ago. Okay, this one is a very traditional and good Gothic church built in the 14th century. Where can you see here the rose window in the facade? Can you see the rose window is the bigger rose window in all the churches, all the Gothic churches in Catalonia. Okay, and then you will see it if you visit Barcelona and the old town. Okay, and close. Okay, we have seen the front for the church, and in a side always every weekend, the local painters in Barcelona, they show as a tradition. They show in this next to, okay, in the side of the church, they show their paintings, their works. Okay, and then you will see them if you visit Barcelona. As we are talking about a painter, a great painter, an artist, Picasso. Okay, here you will see the local Catalan or the local painters from Barcelona every weekend, close to the church, Santa Maria del Pi, Saint Mary of the Pine. Okay, and let's leave Barcelona and let's move to Paris. Picasso left Barcelona in 1905 when he was 24 years old. Okay, but Picasso never forgot Barcelona. Barcelona always was very, very important for Picasso during all his life. Okay, Picasso, sometimes Picasso came back to Barcelona, okay, from Paris. He was living in Paris, in France, but Picasso came back to Barcelona because in Barcelona were living his parents and his sister Lola. His family was in Barcelona, okay? His friends were in Barcelona. The modernist painters that Picasso met in the cafe bar as Quatra Gats, they were in Barcelona and they were very, very, very friends. Carles Casagemas, Pallarès, Sabartés, okay, the painters, the sculptors that Picasso met in Barcelona, they were close Picasso's friends during all his life, okay? And Picasso, for example, okay, he came back to Barcelona this year in 1917. In 1917, do you know Picasso designed the clothes and the sets for the show of the Russian dancer? Do you know the Diaghilev, the Russian dancers? Okay, so they were founded by Diaghilev during the 19th century, and Picasso designed the sets and the clothes for the dancers and for the show of the Russian dancers. And Picasso joined them during their European tour. And Picasso came back to Barcelona in 1917 with them. with the Russian dancer. In Barcelona, Picasso was living with his mother and his sister, Lola. Picasso met in the Russian, in the middle of the Russian dancers. Picasso met Olga Koklova. Olga Koklova, a Russian dancer. Picasso fell in love of Olga Koklova. Finally, she was his first wife, Olga Koklova. They married in Paris in the same year, in 1917, and they had a son, Picasso's, his first son, Paolo Picasso Koklova, and Olga Koklova, very, very important for Picasso in his beginning living in France, in Paris. Olga Koklova was his first wife, but not the last. Okay, so we don't have time now today, okay, to talk about the women in the Picasso's life, because Picasso had lovers, women were very important in his life, okay, but we don't have time, okay, to talk about them, okay. I only, okay, tell you about his first wife, Olga Koklova, a Russian dancer, because with the Russian dancers, Picasso came back to Barcelona in 1917. The show for the Russian, so the ballet, the dancers, was in the opera house in Barcelona called El Liceo. El Liceo, do you know, is in the Ramblas in Barcelona. Over there was the show for the Russian dancers. Okay, and then you visit Barcelona, you can still see the building, the opera house, because there are still concerts inside. Okay, El Liceo, where the Diaghilev Russian dancers, okay, were in Barcelona in 1917. And here there's a picture of Picasso that year in Barcelona in 1917. Okay, and Picasso, he was he was living in France, he was living in Paris, right? And sometimes, okay, we have seen a year, for example, 1917, Picasso came back to Barcelona, or Picasso traveled around Spain because his relative, okay, his family was in Malaga, in the south, okay, the aunt, the uncles, the cousins, so on, okay, they were in Malaga, and Picasso sometimes, okay, visited Malaga or Barcelona or Madrid or different cities and towns around Spain, because Picasso was from Spain, from Malaga, from the south of Spain. But Picasso visited Barcelona. The last year that Picasso was here in Barcelona was in 1934. Because in 1936, 2 years later, there was, you know, the beginning for the Spanish Civil War. The Spanish Civil War, okay, between the Republican government and the Spanish army. They were led by, you know, the General Franco. There was the Spanish Civil War during 3 years, okay, from 1936 to 1939. Picasso was in Paris. Picasso was living in France, in Paris, during the Spanish Civil War. And there was, during the war, okay, in the middle of the Spanish Civil War, there was in Paris the international exhibition, okay, people, so the governments around the world, okay, they built a pavilion in Paris as a way to show the culture for each countries around the world. The Republican government, okay, hired Picasso, or they told Picasso, okay, we would like to show the rest of the world what is going on in Spain during the Spanish Civil War. Because, you know, Hitler and Mussolini they helped Franco to win the Spanish Civil War, and some cities were bombed by the Hitler's aviation, by Mussolini's aviation. For example, Barcelona was bombed by Mussolini and his aviation. They dropped thousands of bombs over Barcelona during the Spanish Civil War. In the north, that year, in 1937, in the north of Spain, there's a small town called Guernica. It was completely destroyed by the Hitler's aviation. Picasso was looking at the newspapers in Paris that year, and he discovered this tragic, this horrible episode, and Picasso painted this painting. This is a big painting because it was a wall inside the Spanish pavilion in Paris during the exhibition in 1937. This big and famous painting by Picasso is called Guernica. Guernica is the name of the town in the north of Spain that it was destroyed by the Hitler's aviation. Picasso wanted to show the fear, the suffering of the people on the cities, on the towns, under the bombs, in this case, during the Spanish Civil War. Do you know, at the end of the war, this painting was a symbol of the peace against the wars, and it started a tour, an European tour around Europe, and finally it ended up in the US. It ended up in New York. It was exhibited in the MoMA Museum in New York during years, until Franco's death in 1975. After Franco's death, during the 1980s, the Guernica, the painting, left New York, left the US, and no came back. It came to Spain because it was its first time in Spain, okay? Only after the Franco's death during the 1980s. Nowadays, this painting by Picasso, it represents the Spanish Civil War during the 1930s in in Spain. It's exhibited in a museum in Madrid. The museum is called Reina Sofia. It's close to the Prados Museum, but okay, you visit Madrid, if you visit Spain, I don't know, one day, okay, if you have a time, you have an option, okay, don't forget to visit the museum called Reina Sofia, and you will see Guernica. It's a big painting, and you will feel the history, our past, the history of Spain during the 1930s, okay, during the Spanish Civil War, okay? And at the end of the tour, okay, I will tell you something else about the Spanish Civil War and Picasso and Franco, okay? I will tell you, okay, at the end of our tour about Picasso Barcelona, okay, I will tell you something else about them, okay? This relationship among them, okay? Picasso, Franco, and the Spanish Civil War, okay? We'll tell you at the end, okay? Let's keep discovering, let's keep talking about Picasso in Barcelona, his time here 1 century ago, okay? In Barcelona, there's a view, okay, of the Cathedral of Barcelona. It's a Gothic cathedral built during the 14th century. Can you see here? The cathedral is on the left, okay, if we look at the picture. On the right side, can you see there are still here standing the Roman walls, okay? So, as I told you before, or some pictures before, Barcelona was founded by the Romans in the 1st century before Christ, and here we can still see in Barcelona the original Roman walls. Here in this picture, we can see them on the right side. In front, the Roman walls, close to the Cathedral of Barcelona, was built a big building during the 1960s as the headquarters of the Catalan Architects. In Barcelona, they built a new headquarters in front, okay, in front of the Roman walls and close to the cathedral, okay? This is the building. And the architects during the 1960s, okay, they sent a letter, okay, to Picasso. He was living in France, okay, 1960s, he was still alive, but he was living in France, okay? And they asked Picasso, okay, we would like to show your art, your relationship with Barcelona in our building, in our new building, okay? Please, okay, designed or drew some drawings about Barcelona, about the culture, because as you lived here, you know our culture, you know our history. And Picasso told Barcelona, Picasso told them, of course, I will draw some of the Catalan culture, the Barcelona, so on, I will send you. Picasso drew them, and they reproduced the drawing by Picasso in the building. Okay, here in the building there are 3 murals. Okay, 3 big murals along the building. We can see them from the street, from the outside, and there's one more inside the building. Okay, this one is the headquarters. It's still the same one. It's still the headquarters for the Catalan Architects in Barcelona, built during the 1960s, and in front, the Roman walls and the Gothic Cathedral of Barcelona. Here, the Picasso, can you see there are some people dancing, musicians, they are very happy, as a way to show happiness, the festivals in Barcelona, so on. Here, can you see this line on the bottom? Can you see a line on the bottom? This is a line of the sea. Which one? The Mediterranean Sea. Very, very important for Picasso during all his life. Picasso was born in Malaga, a city in the Mediterranean Sea. Picasso lived in Barcelona, a city next to the Mediterranean Sea. That time, when Picasso drew them in France, Picasso was living in the south of France, in Cannes. Do you know, in Cannes? A place, a city close to the Mediterranean Sea, because Picasso was a Mediterranean painter, and he always needed the light, the Mediterranean light. Here on the bottom, we can see the line of the Mediterranean Sea, okay, our sea. And here there's one mural more, okay, we have seen one on the side, this one is on the front, okay, this is on the front of the building. When Picasso designed, can you see, he wanted to show us, can you see on the right side and on the left, some people, they hand a palm leaf. They show the Sunday's palm in Easter, okay, a strong tradition in Spain, around the world, okay, in Easter. And can you see on the middle of this mural, there are 2 giants, and can you see between them, there are people, can you see climbing up on the top of each other, so on, okay? They show as castellers, the human towers, a strong Catalan tradition, and the giants, they show the history, our past, okay, where the kings and queens in Barcelona, centuries before, okay? Now we'll see them, the giants and the human tower. Now we can see them by Picasso, and now we'll see them that we'll see in Barcelona or around Catalonia during the festivals, okay? For example, here, that this picture shows us the giants, okay? They show the king and the queen in Barcelona during the 13th century, the Middle Ages, centuries before, and here, centuries ago, and here the castellers, okay, people climbing up on the top of each other, making a human tower. Okay, Picasso represented them in the drawing that we can see from the street if we are close to the headquarters of the Catalan Architects, in the center, in the middle of the Gothic quarter of Barcelona, where the Roman walls are still standing in Barcelona since 2000 years ago, okay? And Picasso, here there's a picture, okay, a picture of a photo by Picasso when he was 20, 21 years old, when he was between Barcelona and Paris, okay, that time. Picasso said the sentence, Picasso said, Barcelona, where it all began. He said, where I understood how far I could go. Barcelona was always a very important city for Picasso. Picasso, he never forgot Barcelona and his connection, his relationship with the city. And Picasso helped Barcelona to get the current Picasso's museum. The Picasso's museum in Barcelona is the only one museum of Picasso around the world that opened when Picasso was alive. And Picasso he helped the city with donations. Picasso gave the city works like donations, okay, exchanged nothing, because Picasso loved Barcelona, okay? There was a time during the 1960s or before, okay? Let me to show you before, okay? Before this connection with Picasso and Barcelona. When Picasso left Barcelona, he was living in France. Okay, now we are in 1907. Okay, you remember Picasso left Barcelona in 1905. Okay, Picasso got a new style. Okay, George Braque, they met in Paris when they were 24, 25 years old. And Picasso and George Braque met a new style, the new style called the Cubism. Here we can see the first and the most important Cubist work by Picasso, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, okay, the Avignon's ladies. Picasso painted 5 ladies, okay, it was the most important or the first Cubist painting by Picasso. People think that as the name of the painting is the Avignon's lady, and Avignon is a village in the south of France, as Picasso painted it in France, in Paris, okay, people think, oh, Picasso wanted to show the French city, Avignon. But it isn't true. Picasso represented his time, his life in Barcelona. Picasso represented a street in Barcelona called Avignon. Avignon is a street in Barcelona, an old and narrow street in the old town in Barcelona, okay? And then here there's the life that Picasso always remembered, okay? His life, his times, his years, his friends in the ladies that maybe he met, okay, over the streets, I don't know, okay, in Barcelona. And here this painting is shows us his memories in Barcelona, okay. This one is exhibited in New York, okay. This one is still in the US. It's exhibited in the MoMA Museum in New York, okay. And then you have his first important, or his first Cubist work is still in the US in New York. Okay, it's about a street in Barcelona called Avignon, right? Okay, and this is the one entrance for the palace. Okay, a palace. Okay, you remember Picasso never forgot Barcelona. Okay, there was a time during the 1960s. A group of people from Barcelona, from the local government, from the art galleries, and Jaume Sabartés. Jaume Sabartés, it's very important to understand the Picasso's museum. It's very important to know something about Jaume Sabartés. Here we can see on the bottom of the picture with the name Jaume Sabartés. Jaume Sabartés and Picasso were very, very close friends. Jaume Sabartés, he was a sculptor. They met in Barcelona when they were 20, 21 years old. Jaume Sabartés lived in France with Picasso because he was his assistant, his friend, always, Jaume Sabartés. Here there's an old palace, because in Barcelona, during the 1960s, they needed a place to open a first exhibition, something about a place, okay, to show Picasso and his works and his time in Barcelona. Okay, the local government in Barcelona, from the city hall, okay, they bought a palace, an old palace in a street called Carrer Montcada Street, okay, where there are all the palaces. The street is filled of palaces, old palaces built in Barcelona centuries before, okay? And they bought a palace and they opened a first exhibition, not museum, because they only had a few works, okay, by Picasso. They opened a first exhibition during the 1960s called the private collection of Jaume Sabartés, the Picasso's friend. Here, let me to show you Jaume Sabartés and Picasso. Here we can see Picasso on the left, Jaume Sabartés on the right side. Jaume Sabartés, very, very important, very close friend of Picasso. Jaume Sabartés, he was born in Barcelona, and you remember they opened a first exhibition called the Private Collection of Jaume Sabartés, and his collection was Picasso's works. And then the first exhibition was Picasso's works some of them were by Jaume Sabartés. They were very, very close friends, very important. Jaume Sabartés helped Barcelona to get the current museum, and Picasso, as Picasso and Jaume Sabartés, they were very, very good friends. As Picasso always loved Barcelona, Picasso and Jaume Sabartés helped Barcelona to get our museum because they gave donations to Barcelona, okay? And the museum was bigger and bigger and bigger because the people from the museum, they were getting works and works, donations by Picasso and his friend Jaume Sabartés, okay? It's very important to understand our museum. Now, it's me inside the Picasso's museum, okay? As I told you, so welcome to the Picasso Museum. Okay, now we'll see the museum. Okay, some galleries for the museum. The galleries are on the second floor. On the first floor, there's a whole corridor. Okay, they joined the palaces because now the Picasso's museum in Barcelona is in five old palaces that they joined the palaces, and on the first floor were the stables. Centuries before were, now there's the shop, there are the toilets, so on, okay? There's there are the lockers, so on, okay? And the ticket office, so on. But on the second floor of the palaces that they joined them, there are the different galleries where we'll see the paintings by Picasso. As I told you, the Jaume Sabartés and Picasso helped Barcelona because they gave the city donations always. Donations were Picasso's works, okay? Drawings, books, paintings, ceramics, so on, okay? And nowadays in Barcelona, its museum about Picasso has 4,000 Picasso's works. 4,000 Picasso's works. They don't have a space to exhibit, to show all of them. On the galleries, okay, there are more or less close to 1,000 works, okay? Now I will show you just a few of them, okay? For me, the most important works, okay? But if you visit the Picasso's museum in Barcelona, okay, you will need at least 1 hour, okay, to see the galleries, to see all the work, because there are, okay, close to 1,000 original Picasso's works, okay? And here I'm in this picture, okay, was taken in on the first floor for a palace, okay, for a palace where there's the second floor where there's the museum. This palace is a medieval palace built in Barcelona during the Middle Ages, where right here there was a Roman house built by the Romans right here 2,000 years ago. Here, right here in this palace, there's our history. There's the Barcelona's history, the Roman times, the Middle Ages. On the top, Picasso and his life in Barcelona. Okay, and now one day, so Picasso was living in France, right? Okay, but his family were in Barcelona. Okay, his parents were here. His sister was here, Lola. Picasso's sister Lola died before Picasso. Okay, died in 1970. During the pandemic, our pandemic, okay, during the pandemic around the world in 2020, okay, there was the 50th anniversary for the death, okay, the death of Picasso's sister, okay, she was Lola. Picasso was living in France, right? When his sister died in Barcelona in 1970, 52 years ago, Picasso hired a lawyer from France, okay? And he told the lawyer, okay, please, okay, go to the flat where my sister lived, and please make a list, okay? You please, okay, find all my works, okay? And please make a list about all of them. Please take a pictures, please take a photo of all of them, and please send me the pictures, and I will tell you if they are original by me, okay? The lawyer, he went to the flat where the Picasso sister was living, and he made a list of 1,000 works. 1,000 Picasso's works were in the flat of his sister. And Picasso in France, he got 1,000 paintings, sorry, 1,000 photos, okay, 1,000 photos for all his works that they were kept in his sister's flat, okay? And Picasso was looking at one by one, and he said, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Picasso told the lawyer, okay, here there are 1,000 works, okay? They are mine, okay? They were made by myself, and now, okay, we'll give them, all of them, the 1,000 works to Barcelona and its museum as a donation. And this museum, okay, got one day 1,000 works more by Picasso, okay? When Picasso was an art student in Barcelona, when Picasso was a teenager, when Picasso was living in La Coruña, when he was 13 years old, his most important works, when he was a young man, a teenager, all of them were a new donation to Barcelona one day. Here, this picture, okay, is about the first gallery of the museum, where on the room, okay, there are exhibited all the photos by the lawyer, okay, the 1,000 works. Now, some of them, the most important, because they don't have a space to show all of them, the most important works are exhibited on the galleries, okay, on the galleries of the museum. Okay, we'll see a few of them. Okay, we don't have time to show all of them because we'll need, okay, at least, I don't know, maybe at least 2 or 3 hours more, okay, to show you all the museum. Okay, I only will walk through the museum and I will show you a few works. For me, the most important work that you will see in the Picasso's museum in Barcelona. Okay, here there's the donation, 1,000 works one day. And here, for example, there's I took a closer photo of this one because I love it, because this is a photo, a small photo, okay, of a painting, a small painting that Picasso painted in La Coruña when Picasso was 13 years old, before moving to here, before moving to Barcelona. And it's amazing that Picasso had a very good control about the traditional rules and the traditional rules, the academic rules, okay? Because don't forget, because his father, Picasso's father, taught him all the academic rules during all his life, okay? All his life when Picasso was a kid and a child and a teenager, of course, okay? And now let me to show you, she was a relative of Picasso, la tía Pepa. She was a sister of Picasso's father, okay, the Aunt Pepa. It was painted in 1896 in Malaga, because she lived in Malaga, okay, as Picasso was, that time Picasso was living here in Barcelona. And Picasso, during the summer with his parents and his sister Lola, visited the family in the south of Spain, in Malaga, okay? And he met his la tía Pepa, okay, the sister of his father, la tía Pepa. And Picasso, that time, Picasso was 15, only 15 years old, okay? And there's a theory, okay, about it. Okay, I always love to show this painting in the museum because there's a theory about this painting and the time when Picasso painted it. Picasso was 15 years old and Picasso asked her, so, Tia, I would like to paint a painting about you. Please, let me to paint a painting about you. And she always told him, I don't want to be here, to stay here for you. Okay, go to play whatever. Okay, don't let me alone, so on. Okay. And Picasso was 15 years old. Please, 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 please. And finally, she said, okay, you win. But you only have 1 hour. When Picasso was 15 years old, quickly, he painted this one, La Tía Pepa, okay? But finally, we can see, looking at the painting, that Picasso got a very good work. Because if we look at the painting, our look goes to her face, okay? The light of the painting is on the center where there's her face, her expression, okay? Around her face, it's black, okay? Because Picasso only wanted to show us her expression, okay? It's amazing when Picasso only was 15 years old that he painted this kind of work, okay? And looking at this painting, what do you think? I think that she was very, very happy to be painted, right? No, she was unhappy, okay? So let's forget La Tía Pepa and let's see one painting more. The First Communion, La Primera Comunión, the First Communion, 1896, when Picasso was 15 years old, okay? We are not sure, okay? There are people that is confused, okay? That we think that the lady, okay, here the lady that she's taking her first communion in the church, maybe could be his sister, Lola. The man here on the left side could be his father, Don Jose Luis. And the woman over there at the end on the left side could be his mother, Maria Picasso. But we are not sure, okay? We're not sure about them, okay? There's a theory, maybe they were his family, okay? And here people think that here the altar, the boy, the servant was Pallares. Pallares was a Picasso's friend that they met in Barcelona that time when Picasso painted this one, when Picasso was 15 years old in 1896, okay? Let me to show you a character for this painting that for me is very, very good, okay? Can you see this one? Is the boy, okay? The altar servant in the church, okay? The boy, okay? Do you know? So can you see? He's putting the vase with the flowers, right? In the altar, okay? He's making an action. It's like if you capture a photo, okay? Maybe you can capture an action. Picasso painted it, okay? It isn't a photo, it's a painting by Picasso when he only was 15 years old, okay? And here the details of the flowers, his expression, okay? It's very, very good, okay? I love it, okay? And the color, so on, okay? Different color for his clothes. And Picasso only was 15 years old. It's amazing, okay? And let's keep enjoying the Picasso's museum. Here, there's his most important work when he was living in Barcelona, okay? When he was, again, between 15 and 16 years old. This one is called Science and Charity, okay? Now, if we look at, can you see on the left side, there's a doctor, okay? The doctor is his father, Don Jose Luis, okay? And here, there's a nun, the doctor shows the signs, and the nun shows the charity, okay, the church, and you see between them there's a sick woman, because the sick woman needs both the doctor, the science, and also the charity as a way to get heaven, to find Jesus, because she's close the death, okay? And this one is the most important and the bigger work by Picasso when he was 15 years old in Barcelona in 1897, okay? Very, very good. It's exhibited in the Picasso's Museum in Barcelona. If you visit the Picasso's Museum one day, I hope, okay, yeah, I know that you will visit the future. Why not? Okay, Barcelona and the Picasso Museum. Okay, if you have a time, okay, to meet, okay, maybe, okay, you will meet us in Barcelona, and I will show you something else about this painting. Okay, about this painting, there's something hidden here. Okay, but I need to show you the secret of the painting in the museum, not here, okay? And then I will, well, we'll wait, okay, in the future, because I'm sure that we'll meet in Barcelona very, very soon, okay? And don't forget this one, science and charity, okay? And one more, Carles Casagemas. Carles Casagemas. Carles Casagemas and Picasso they were very, very close friends, very, very close friends. Carles Casagemas and Picasso. They were 20 years old, okay? They were young men. And Casagemas was born in Barcelona. He was a painter too, okay, as Picasso was. They were together. They had a workshop together in Barcelona when they were 20, 21 years old, okay? Casagemas and Picasso, they went to Paris and they came back to Barcelona, so on, okay? And you see, this painting is about his friend, Carles Casagemas. It was painted by Picasso, okay, at the beginning of the 20th century when they were 20 years old. And if we look at his expression, okay, can you see his scary look, okay? He's telling us, go away, go away. No, he's scary. He's scary look, right? Okay. And Casagemas fell in love in France, in Paris, with for a French lady, Germaine. Okay, but she didn't love him back. Okay, and one day suddenly, Casagemas and the Picasso's friends, okay, one evening in a restaurant in Paris, they were having dinner, so on. Okay, that evening, Picasso was here in Barcelona. Okay, they were in Paris, but Picasso was here. Okay, suddenly Casagemas told them a speech, the friends, so on, a speech about his life, about his works, his paintings, because he was a painter too. Okay, and suddenly Casagemas took out a gun from his pocket and he killed himself over there in a restaurant, in the table with his friends around him. Picasso was in Barcelona. Picasso got terrible, terrible news when the Picasso's friend, okay, told him, Casagemas, our friend, killed himself with us over there close to him. And Picasso was in Barcelona and he started to think, but why? Why? I would like to help him. Why? Why? And Picasso started to feel very sad and blue. And Picasso, after his death, Picasso started his first style, the blue period. Here we can see a painting by Picasso in 1901, the blue period, because the first Picasso's style, okay, wasn't the Cubism. The first one was the blue period in Barcelona after Casagemas' death, his friend, because Picasso felt very, very blue. Okay, here this very, very good painting is in Barcelona, exhibited in the museum, and there are more of them about the blue period in Barcelona the last years, okay, of Picasso, when he was between the both cities, Barcelona and Paris, okay. And here, the name Pablo Ruiz Picasso, okay. As I told you at the beginning of the tour, of our tour about Picasso, here in Spain we have two surnames, our fathers and our mothers, okay. Pablo was his name, nickname. Ruiz, his father's surname, Picasso, his mother's surname, okay? Some people think that Picasso wanted to break the relationship with the old traditional academic rules, okay? And maybe Picasso thought, my signature, okay, will be now in Paris only Picasso, my mother's surname, because Ruiz represents my father, and my father represents the paintings, the traditional paintings, okay? But we are not sure, because people think that Picasso and his father had a peculiar relationship, but Picasso's father was very, very important for Picasso. I think, okay, it's my opinion, that Picasso never forgot his father. Picasso is Picasso because he has his father before. Okay, don't forget it. Okay, and then his father was very, very important. Maybe Picasso, Ruiz is a very traditional Spanish surname. Picasso isn't a Spanish surname. Picasso is from Italy because the family of his mother at the beginning, okay, were, so his great grandfather was from Italy. Okay, and then Picasso is an Italian surname. Maybe Picasso, okay, thought Picasso is different. Ruiz is more traditional Spanish one, okay. In Barcelona, okay, people say that when Picasso met the modernist painters in Barcelona, in the cafe, do you remember, called Quatra Gats for cats, the modernist painters, okay, they started to call him Picasso, Picasso, because Picasso is a singular. It's a singular surname. Ruiz is very typical. Picasso is singular. Okay, maybe as he was singular because he was a great painter when he was a teenager. Okay, maybe the old painters thought, okay, his name, okay, could be better Picasso. Okay, maybe he started to use Picasso, 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 and finally he signed the works with only Picasso. And Picasso, okay, let me to show you Picasso's mother, Maria Picasso. When Picasso was 15 years old, Picasso painted his mother. This painting is exhibited in Barcelona, in the Picasso Museum in Barcelona. And here Picasso painted his mother with a lovely and good, very good mother, okay? Maybe Picasso was, maybe Picasso missed, why no? Why not? Maybe he missed his mother in Paris, in France. Okay, he started a new life, new friends, new styles, new life, new women. But his mother was always his mother. And then here, Maria Picasso. And Picasso in Paris, okay, he got a new style. We have seen the Cubism, okay, his Cubist, his first Cubist work, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, okay, for example. And here we can see Margot, okay, or in 1901, Picasso painted it in Paris, okay, when he was between both cities, Barcelona and Paris, Paris and Barcelona, okay. And when Picasso met in Paris the Impressionist painters, okay, during the 19th century, they started a revolution of the art, okay. The Impressionist painters, they said, okay, if you would like to get a new color, okay, so do you know the palette, where there are the different colors? Forget the palette. And you will mix the colors on the work and you will get a new color on the work, not on the palette. And then Picasso, here we can see that he started this new technique, okay, not the palette, and can you see with brush strokes, he started to mix the colors, okay, as the Impressionist painters did before, okay, Monet, Cézanne, Renoir, so on, okay. And here we can see a very important work as a way to, this one helps us to understand, okay, his change, okay, when he changed from a traditional painter slowly, step by step, as a great artist, as he was in the world during the 20th century. Here, there's his beginning in Paris, and if you look at her expression, can you see? She has a strong look, a strong, very strong expression. Picasso, do you know Picasso? He had a very strong personality. Okay, maybe looking at her expression, we can see the Picasso's strong personality. Okay, this one is in the Picasso's Museum in Barcelona. And finally, okay, we are close to the end. Okay, I think it's too late, maybe. Okay, but I need time to talk about Picasso and his time in Barcelona. Okay, there was do you know, in the 17th century, there was a great painter in Spain, in Madrid, called Velázquez. Velázquez painted this one, is called Las Meninas. Meninas means the maids. The maids, they looked after the princess, because in the middle, you see in the middle, there's the princess in Spain in the 17th century. Here can you see Velázquez and the maids, okay, the servants are around her, okay? Here can you see the mirror, there's the king and the queen of Spain in the 17th century. They were her parents, the parents for the princess, right, okay? And here can you see on the left, there's Velázquez, the painter, he painted himself in the 17th century. Picasso, in 1957, he was living in the south of France, in Cannes. He lived, do you know, he lived in a country house called Le Californie. California was the name for the house where Picasso lived in the south of France, okay? And here, Picasso, in 1957, during 6 months, Picasso painted 58 works, and they show an interpretation, okay, for Picasso about this one. Okay, from one painting, Picasso painted 58 works. Okay, this is a series about Las Meninas in Barcelona, because they are in Barcelona. Okay, in Barcelona, there's the only museum around the world where there's a full series is together in Barcelona, because they were together, a donation to Barcelona by Picasso in 1968. Why 1968? Because that year his close friend Jaume Sabartés died. When his friend died, as he was born in Barcelona, as Picasso loved Barcelona, Picasso gave the 58 works to Barcelona as a new donation. Okay, if you visit the museum, you will see them. Now I only will show you 2 of them, okay, but they are 58. Okay, this one, okay, don't forget this picture, please. Don't forget it, okay? Can you see in the middle the princess, the painter Velázquez on the left, the servants around her, okay? The mirror, but there's the king and the queen in Spain in the 17th century, her parents, okay? And now this is by Velázquez, okay? 17th century, right? And now I will show you the same painting by Picasso in 1957. This one is the same, or it's his interpretation. Okay, this is the interpretation of Picasso about, don't forget it, this one by Velázquez, okay, 17th century, now by Picasso, 1957, okay? We can see, can you see here, okay, some characters here at the center, there's the princess, okay, the princess here, in the mirror, there's the king and the queen. Can you see the king and the queen? Her parents. Here the king, can you see the king looks like a clown, not a king. Can you see here the Velázquez? Picasso painted Velázquez taller. He's the most important character in the painting, because Velázquez was the painter and Picasso was the painter too. And here the most important one isn't the princess, not the king, not the queen, not the Royal Palace, is the painter, because Picasso was the painter too, okay? Can you see the Velázquez, and you see Velázquez painted a dark room, the windows were closed, okay? But Picasso opened, can you see on the right side? He opened the windows as a way to let the light get inside, because Picasso was a Mediterranean painter, and the sunlight, the light was very, very important for Picasso during all his life. And here, there's one of the first, this is the first one about, okay, the 58 works, okay? If you will visit the Picasso's museum, okay, in the future, why not, okay? I will show you something else between them, okay, by Velázquez and Picasso. I will show you, of course, the rest of them, because they are 58 works. Okay, here there's only one. And now I will show you one more about this series by Picasso in 1957, okay? Because if you remember, Picasso painted them, okay, as an interpretation of the Velázquez work. But Picasso painted two different parts, okay? They are 58, but some of them show the work by Velázquez, and some of them show the opposite. Here there's an interpretation of Picasso about Velázquez's work, and now I will show you one more. This is completely different, right? Okay, this Picasso painted the views from his window in Le Californie, California, okay, the name for the house where Picasso lived in the south of France. Picasso had, you see pigeons on the balcony. Picasso had pigeons, and the view was, can you see the blue sky and the blue Mediterranean Sea? Because Picasso wanted to tell us, the first one, the painting by Velázquez, show the royal palace, the kings, the queens, so on, the princes, so on. But now I want to show you the opposite, the liberty, the freedom, because the pigeons fly. They fly to the blue sky, okay, and they're together, okay? Some paintings are pigeons, some paintings are his interpretation about Velázquez's works, okay, Velázquez's work, only one, okay? And they are 58. They are together in Barcelona because they were a donation to Barcelona by Picasso in 1968, okay? And we are close to the end, okay? If you remember, I told you something about Picasso and the Spanish Civil War, okay? Picasso painted, do you remember? As you remember, I told you during the tour, okay, Guernica, a big painting as a way to show the fear, the suffering for the people under the bombs by Hitler, Mussolini, so on, during the Spanish Civil War, right? Okay, Picasso, he was a communist, okay, and Franco was the opposite. Finally, in Spain, Franco won the Spanish Civil War in 1939. The communist people, the anarchist people, they left Spain, okay, at the end of the war. Picasso, at the end of the Spanish Civil War, he said in France, in Paris, he said, while Spain is under a Franco's dictatorship, I will never come back to Spain. In Spain lived his mother, his sister, his friends, his family, his relatives in Malaga, so on. And Picasso died in 1973 when he was 91 years old. And Franco died in 1975. And Picasso never came back to Spain. His last time in Barcelona and Spain was in 1934, 2 years before the beginning of the Spanish Civil War in 1936. Now, this is the life of Picasso, okay? He always loved Barcelona. He helped Barcelona to get the current Picasso's museum in Barcelona, but Picasso never visited the museum in Barcelona. the museum in Barcelona was visited by his last wife, Jacqueline Roch, his last wife. After Franco's death during the 1980s, she came to Barcelona and she visited the Picasso's museum, okay, the work by Picasso, okay, the work by Picasso, his works she visited. When she came to here, to Barcelona, she gave a new donation to Barcelona and she gave to the city some ceramics as Picasso made. Because Picasso, one time, Picasso made ceramics because he got a workshop in France. He made ceramics and finally he painted them. In Barcelona, in the Picasso Museum, there are 42 ceramics by Picasso. Some of them were a donation by Jacqueline, his last wife, after Franco's death during the 1980s. And this is the end of the tour about Picasso in Barcelona. I hope that you have learned, that you have enjoyed about Picasso and his times in Barcelona. Thank you very much for your interest about Picasso and my city, Barcelona. I know that we'll see together, that we'll meet very, very soon.
In person.
Barcelona. In Barcelona. And we'll visit the Picasso Museum and we'll walk together through the old town of Barcelona. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jordi. That was awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. As always, excellent job. Let's see. Let me just share a few things. So you've been watching the Picasso in Barcelona and Picasso Museum live stream tour. Thanks so much for joining us. Our host has been our friend Jordi Gomez. If you ever want to reach out to Jordi, because you might be visiting Barcelona, I included his email address there on the screen. I've also pasted it in the comment section on Facebook, in the chat section in Zoom, if you want to check that out. And Jordi also accepts tips, just because we invite people to come host these programs with us, but unfortunately we get a lot of people turn us down because all of our programs are free. But if you could make it worthwhile to Jordi for taking time out of his schedule to come join us, that would be greatly appreciated. And then just kind of as a reminder, so Jordi's previously done other programs for us. This is actually the fourth one that he's done. He did a talk on Barcelona and also Catalonia. And then he did a Christmas talk last December. And all of those are on our YouTube channel. The information, I'll email that out as well. But it should also be in the event description wherever you signed up, along with Jordi's contact information. And then when we were, I'm always teasing Jordi about food. So there were quite a few people that were coming like, yeah, come do the food talk. We want to, when is that going to be? I want to sign up for that. So we'll have to discuss that at some point.
I'm learning. I know that you love the food.
So we'll work on that. And then, like I said at the beginning, if you joined us late, I hope that at some point in time we can go see Jordi in person. I've been to Spain myself. I haven't been to Barcelona, so I'm looking forward to going there. But I have been to Spain, and I really loved it. It was great. Great history, great culture, architecture, art. The people were friendly. The food was fabulous. So looking forward to going back. And I think maybe at some point in time, before COVID, our group used to organize trips to different places, only in the US though. And I was thinking when COVID ended, we would expand our horizons and go overseas and go check out Jordi's hometown of Barcelona. So again, bravo, that was awesome. Thank you very much. Let's see, we'll actually have to cut the program short in a couple minutes and not take questions because we're running a little long. We have another program coming up shortly. So why don't I do this? I'll save the questions and Jordi and I can look through them later. And then we'll figure out if we can respond to some of those maybe in an online way. And then again, I pasted Jordi's contact information in the chat in Zoom if you are ever able to check that out. And with that, I want to bid everyone farewell. Jordi, any final comments before we sign off for the day? And again, thanks so much for, I know quite a bit about Picasso myself. You mentioned a lot of things that I wasn't even aware of. And then of course, I don't know much about Barcelona. So you did a really awesome job.
Yeah, thank you so much. I only have talked about his time in Barcelona, but there are more places to visit, more works to visit in the museum. It's amazing. The Picasso Museum in Barcelona, for me, it's my opinion, okay? For me, it's the best museum in the world, okay, as a way to understand his beginning, when he changed, when he turned, okay, his career as a painter, traditional painter, as an artist. It's a very, very important one. For me,
okay. What did you think? Have you seen this Picasso film from National Geographic before?
Yeah, of course.
What were your thoughts? And before you answer, if you didn't like it, that's fine. Did you love it? Did it was it so-so, or well, as a Spaniard right there in Barcelona, what was your take on the Picasso film?
Antonio Banderas, right? Okay, is the actor. Okay, for one time of Picasso. Yeah, it's good. It's very good because you can see in the National Geographic, okay, you can see different times, okay, different time when Picasso is young, when he's old. We can feel the relationship of Picasso with women, because Picasso had a peculiar relationship with different women.
Many relationships.
Yeah, and very strange.
Mucho.
Relationship he had, okay, during his life. Okay, for me it's very good. Okay, you want to see. To learn something about Picasso, this one's for National Geographic. It's very good. Okay, I recommend you, of course.
I liked his pickup line. It was something similar to usually, "You have a beautiful face. I must paint you. I am Picasso."
Enough.
Yeah, enough. And sometimes they said yeah. So I was actually, if you haven't seen this film before, I actually recommend it highly as well. I was actually going to watch. It's 10 1-hour sections, and I was going to watch an hour a week. And I saw the first one and got hooked, and I ended up binge watching it over like a day and a half. So I really like it. But I'm American, so I didn't know what the real Spanish opinion would be. But if you haven't seen it before, I really recommend it. And I was also going to see if I could live stream it to our group. So I've been working on that. So if you haven't seen it, I'm hoping at some point in time we can actually stream it for our group, and you'd be welcome to come join us, anyone that wants to come. So okay, well, that's good to know. I appreciate that. Your movie review on Picasso film.
It's good. It's good. Yeah.
Okay, well, now I feel better recommending it, knowing that someone from Spain actually signed off and endorsed it. So, well, let's see. That's all I have. Like I said, we have to wrap things up. Jordi, any final comments before we sign off for the day?
No,
other than come to Spain, which we'll do.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you to visit us. Okay, I hope that this
coming
nightmare, the coronavirus, okay, will be over very, very soon, and we can you will travel to, okay, why not to Barcelona, okay, to Spain, okay, to visit us. But in Spain is very, very famous or important to visit Madrid. Madrid is in the center of Spain. Barcelona is in the northeast of Spain. Okay, there are 600 kilometers between them, and you can take the metro, the high speed. Okay, in 4 or 5 hours. Okay, you will be over there in Madrid. Okay, and you will visit in Madrid the Prados Museum, amazing art museum. You will see the Velázquez. Las Meninas is in the Prados Museum in Madrid, or you will see the Guernica is in the Elena Sofia Museum is in Madrid too. Okay, they are close, the museums, or you can visit both. Okay, Madrid is still, of course, a great city. In Barcelona we have Gaudí, La Sagrada Familia, church, modernist buildings. We have the sea, we have mountains. We are close.
You got it all. Okay, well, we're coming. Get ready, we're coming. and I'm going to bring friends from our group. So okay, everyone, we have to wrap things up. So again, thanks so much, Jordi. I'll catch up with you a little bit later, and if you joined us late, the recording will be on our YouTube channel if you're watching it live, probably tomorrow though. So again, everyone, thanks. Have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.